Welcome, students. Today, let's look at the binaries in Indian Constitution and Statute, which are aimed at addressing the societal problems. They are binaries, but they are not contradicting each other. Actually, they are complementary in interpretation by Supreme Court of India. One such case has surfed in news, and that issue is about rights of divorced women to seek alimony irrespective of their religion, or will that be specific to religious laws? This is the topic that we are discussing. To understand this, let's divide the whole story into the statute or law in India and conditions in society that are progressing. If we understand these two and a story of what happened in late 80s, we would get a clarity about how the law is operating and why Supreme Court has interpreted such way. So let's begin with what happened in 1980s. A woman in Madhya Pradesh felt it was injustice. The woke woman Shah Banu has filed a case seeking alimony or maintenance during the period of Iddat. To understand this in Muslim law, Shah Banu, when filed the case in Madhya Pradesh, it was stuck down expecting that Muslim personal law would prevail, as Article 25 grants autonomy and it's not uniform civil code that would prevail, and the step was considered towards an appeal for uniform civil code, which the society was not ready in 1980s. And she challenged in Supreme Court. Supreme Court ruled that Article 25 is subject to other fundamental rights, and her right to equality would prevail over Article 25, which grants autonomy to Muslims to maintain in their own personal law. So now let's look at how the Muslim personal law acts and why Muslim personal law prevails over Article 25 was considered as judgment of Madhya Pradesh High Court. Muslim personal law considers marriage as a contract. So marriage is a contract there in Islam. So during divorce, which they call as talaq-e-biddat, or if talaq, it's given by male counterpart. If it's khula, it's given by female counterpart. So there are two concepts here. One is talaq and the second one is khula. Khula would be initiated by women and talaq is initiated by male. So any of them, if they start, there's a cooling off period in any kind of marriage, in any religion or even a civil union. If they want to break the marriage, then this includes a cooling off period, and in Islam they call it iddat. Iddat means it's a period to make sure whether they would settle back and stop this divorce, or will they get convinced that divorce is inevitable. It usually lasts for 3 to 6 months. So as per the Muslim law, it's only during this iddat period the maintenance is given. So this maintenance is given only for iddat period, is what was upheld by the Madhya Pradesh High Court. Of course, it was overturned by Supreme Court in its subsequent appeal, but the judicial pronouncement stayed only till government framed a law by name Women's Right of Divorce Protection Law. This law came in 1980s during the reign of Rajiv Gandhi in 1986. So, after this law, they considered the basis for this law as Article 13's rule of law, which defines law, does not include personal laws. It's an interesting thing, an interesting interpretation. If this is the scenario, if Muslim personal law is not part of the law, even to scrutinize by any agency of government, then the present scenario is considered different by the present judgment or obiter dictum given by Supreme Court yesterday. So it says women can claim alimony as part of secular law. Because the provisions in this law said the heir or the children would get the fair share of the property of the husband, and they are responsible for maintenance of women after the iddat period. But if you look at that, the woman doesn't have any heir, or if she doesn't have or bear any children, in that case there can't be discrimination. So under the secular law, whose implementation was mentioned in section 125 of CRPC, of course the equivalent one would be part of Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita. So that said about the implementation procedure about the alimony as decided by the magistrate. So the same part could be claimed now by the women, or she can choose to take the property for her and bestow the responsibility of her maintenance on children. So she has two options today, either to choose the compensation as part of secular law or ensure the property share is given to the children and they would take care of it. So by this, I think you got a clarity about the options available getting wider and the scope of women's rights even expanding. This is what is transformational constitutionalism is, and as part of transformational constitutionalism, the scope of Article 21, right to life, expands, and this expansion creates more dignity even to divorced women, irrespective of their religion. This is how India is progressing today. Hope you got better clarity about the transformational constitutionalism and how the rights of women are being expanded with this explanation. Another day with better content, I'll be back before you. Till then, thank you.